Hello and welcome to the Sheep Seats. Tonight we are going to be watching the World Series Game 1. I literally just walked in the door for trick-or-treating with my son, so we are totally prepared and good to go here. But yeah, it looks like the game is about to begin. I got on my phone and I got someone that nobody knows but me. I got a guy who, I don't know, he, how long have you been playing DFS?
Like about a decade, I guess. I
A
feel like
decade?
I feel like you know what? I definitely over a decade, but it's been a while, kind of grinding away as you do, you know.
Yeah. Just for some context, I met Rip. I'm just gonna call you Rip tonight, just because that's how I'm. It's weird. Like I know your name is Chris, but I know you as Rip. I think of you
Yeah,
as that.
you can use either one. It's whatever works for you.
So yeah, I don't know. 4 years ago, we kind of met in the Bat Discord. Looks like the game's getting underway here. Yeah, and I don't know. We I thought you were full of it to begin with. I remember that. I mean, I still do, but
Well, that has not changed undeniably. Yeah.
I just came to understand you better, I guess, as time went on. We sort of been talking that whole time since we met in I don't know, at four. I don't know. I don't know time. 4 or 5 seasons ago, and yeah, wanted to. It's been highly requested by a couple of our other online friends that we get together. I think they were hoping for a little more explosive content because we sometimes go at each other in the chat.
I know. You know what? Part of my shtick is to prod you a little bit, fairly or unfairly. A lot of the times, probably unfairly, but I still feel obligated to do it. But that all being said, I do really think it's cool that what you've established, with your show and some of the other things you have going, and you've really got yourself a really cool niche in the industry, which is rad. I'm happy to see that. And, yeah. So anyway, it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's we got maybe 2 live viewers, so it's definitely a small niche within the industry. But I'm going to throw out a tweet here that we are live now. But yeah, no, any initial prediction for this game?
You know, I hurriedly made a couple lineups that were all Seager captain, which would be on brand for me.
Yep.
But I don't know. You talked me off of my idea that Arizona was a lame and kind of boring team, and I think you're right. I think they're actually quite good, and they played in a tough division. San Diego is a great team, even though their record didn't show it. And the Dodgers were fantastic during the regular season and have a ton of talent. So making the playoffs out of that division is you can't be a slouch. So they maybe just don't have the appeal that I was hoping they would if it was a Phillies Rangers series, but they're not slouches at all. So ground out by stepdad to start the game for what it's worth.
Did that make sense? I tweeted that Corbin Carroll looks like a stepdad.
Deserved better than 4 likes. I'll say that. It was a good tweet.
Well, like I said, I have a small niche.
Yeah. No, I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I played a couple of showdown lineups tonight. Right, I did the 20 max quarter contest and just built a bunch of pitcher lineups at utility.
I won one ticket in the 3-3-3, so I threw that in and did like maybe 4 or 5 in the big 20, and that was about it. I just didn't have time to do anything. But it was interesting. We were talking earlier, and I think you made a good point that these starting pitchers are going to get longer leash today than they would in Game 5 or almost any other game, to be honest, of the playoffs. So you really kind of probably have to get rocked to get a real early exit out of the thing. So
Yeah, and I think it might be different if they had a better. Neither of these guys have a fourth. Neither of these teams have a fourth starter. And I mean, I don't know what you think about Brandon Pfaadt and what he's done so far in the playoffs versus the regular season. Like, can that keep up? You know.
I didn't really think much of him in the regular season, but man, he's looked really good and he's, performed pretty well, all things considered. So if he's done that well so far, I don't see why he can't in this series too. So
yeah, he did that whole they keep talking about he moved to like the extreme side of the rubber where he's starting, so that seems to be working.
I feel like that's even a short-term fix for some pitchers, even if it ends up not being a long-term thing. You change your sort of approach angle just enough to throw off the league for one time through or whatever it takes to, and maybe once the team sees you a couple times, they catch up to it, but that's enough to make you a little bit different than you were the time before. So
yeah, and Eovaldi is, I haven't been paying attention to his velocity tonight, but
well, and he was pretty much just total garbage in the late regular season, right? I mean, he was not viable on any level, and then figured it out, I guess, in the division series or in the wild card, I guess.
Yeah, because he came back from injury and just kind of stunk for a bit, and his velocity was down, and it never really like super came up back to where it was at the beginning of the season, but he's been making it work, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Probably relying a lot on his dog quotient at this point.
I mean, there's no better playoff dog than Eovaldi right now.
He's up there. He's done pretty well.
He's like reverse Clayton Kershaw.
Right.
Yeah, I know I chased one of those 333 tickets in a couple of different sports, and I never got one really to go through. I know I feel like, I don't know, you're like if I was trying to think about like how to describe your DFS style, and it's sort of like a high stakes, low stakes, or like you like consistently play for the higher dollar tournaments. You work on getting tickets to them, and then you try to get into those higher dollar contests rather than just grinding.
Basically, my theory is, I'm probably like a 1 or 2 lineup player almost all the time. It's just I like making a lineup and trying to kind of solve it or figure it out. And it's impossible to really be a really solid plus EV player in those big tournaments. With 40,000, 50,000, 100,000 entries doing that. But I like to think that if I got in some tournaments that were slightly smaller and with some of those tickets, I'd have a shot. And, that's kind of what I've always done. Plus it's a lot of fun, playing, I'm not someone who would normally be playing in the big milli makers or any of that stuff, but winning a ticket is a lot of fun. And even if you end up with a 0, it's at least a bit of a ride. So,
Yeah. And I think you're much more of you're not really a projection guy so much. I think that's why I originally didn't understand, because we were in the bat channel and you're just like talking about how they were, you weren't using them or whatever. Like, why are you even here?
I had the bat. I mean, I think the bat is a really good tool and is clearly really sharp. I definitely am playing more on vibes, I think, than anything. But I was happy to see, I don't know if you saw the show with Utica, where he said,
yeah,
knowing ball is the new projections. And, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think like projections, there's always variables within them, whether they're manually tweaked or whether you're building off of a data set that that exists that you are taking granted that will go into the future as the correct data to work off. Like there's a lot of stuff that goes into them, and clearly like Carty's projections are fabulous in both baseball and football. I certainly would never although I've had a couple arguments about things that didn't pass the smell test to me with him, but he's right more than I am, certainly. So he does a great job with those, and you got to have good projections to have a clue of what you're doing in it. But
right, yeah, and the truth is probably somewhere between the two of us in our reliance on them, and vibes versus projections. But yeah, that was the knowing ball. Well, you've known ball longer just by how many years more you've been watching ball. So that
by virtue of being dusty, I've been able to know a lot of ball. That's basically the gist of it. Yeah, but unfortunately, none of my mid '80s baseball knowledge is really applicable right now. So Kent Tekulve or whoever is not gonna walk out of the bullpen and start pitching innings for anybody in this World Series. So
yeah, you're we got Seager up. I don't know. I'm watching on YouTube TV, so I don't know how.
So I am too. Yeah,
but your guy Seager up is up and
2-0. This is probably where he cuts loose with a wild swing and maybe crushes it.
How did this like inside joke? I don't remember. We just both liked him.
Yeah, and I always liked him as a Dodger young player, like in his early years. I just thought he really was a great hitter and a pretty solid defensive shortstop, but really a great hitter. And then he got injured, and I kept on playing him as a DFS guy, and even in like seasonal leagues, and he was just kind of really bad for a while after he got back. And then he just, caught fire and basically led the Dodgers to that win in the World Series, and I didn't play him at all during that entire stretch, and I just completely am baffled by that. It probably cost me a lot of potential cash, but I don't know. I just think he's a great hitter. He doesn't get cheated. He's pretty smart. He kind of, just a fan, I guess.
And on that team, he sort of was able to hide his skill because that was a little better Dodgers lineup around him a lot of the time that he kind of could. Yeah, he worked the walk, but yeah, he could kind of hide a little bit better. Like now he's obviously the feature of this Texas team.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I don't know, I'd say the most important guy because he bridges that gap between Semien and Garcia.
Totally.
Who are they're both kind of the opposite guys. And then he's sort of in between, makes it good. Put those three guys in a row, and I don't know where I'm really going with that, but trying to I didn't pull it up. I was gonna pull up your big win here.
So while you're doing that, we've got Evan Carter at the plate, and the rest of career, Sal Frelick or Evan Carter. Who was your pick for the Brewers' number 2 hitter? If it was to happen?
Man, I kind of like them in the same category. I think Carter's got a little more power. Obviously, he isn't. He's controlling the plate. Doesn't have quite as much the hit tool. It's sort of like compare the two of them. I'll say Sal has a little bit more of a hit tool, and Carter has similar power or has more power. But I think they both have like similar functions in their speed and defensive capabilities. So I think they're both sort of like not so much glue guys, but better than glue guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Carter looks like he knows what he's doing up there. He's got that kind of tall stance and kind of looks like he's like a hitter, but I don't know much about him other than what I've seen so far this year. So
Yeah, I didn't really know much about him till he really caught fire when he came up, and then all the numbers were saying that it was probably not sustainable, but he's obviously sustained it. How that goes. So yeah, it'd be interesting next year, if like especially he's not alone in this series, but in the playoffs, I'm interested in him and like Eovaldi, Fott, all these guys that are showing off in the playoffs, where they're gonna end up being drafted next year. And, in Roto and stuff.
Well, give me your take on Zach Gallen, because he's been like borderline untouchable at times this year, and then he's looked kind of pretty bad at times, including in the playoffs. He hasn't been that great.
Yeah, he just gave up a run. Evan Carter proving me wrong. Long double. I don't know. I think Gallen's just like a consistent type of guy. I don't know. He's always going to be leading your staff, but he's never going to be Cy Young. I don't know. I don't have too much to say. I like him, and like especially in DFS, I feel like he gets lost, and even in season long fantasy, he doesn't get the accolades and notice. I mean, pretty much this whole, other than Corbin Carroll, nobody on Arizona really gets a lot of eyeballs or talk.
Yeah. I mean, I've always I like Marte a lot. He's just he's kind of solid all the way around. He can run, he can hit. At times he's been a pretty good defensive player and been able to play outfield and infield, I think. I mean, I think he's mostly infield now, but when he was with Seattle, wasn't he an outfielder for a little bit, or is that like complete baloney? No, Marte.
Oh, I don't know.
That might be the bong hits from 1997 talking. Not probably not actual.
All right. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know. I didn't even know he was on Seattle, to be honest. And
I hope he was, or I'm really going to feel like a complete imbecile. Hold on, I gotta do.
No, you could be right. I'm just might have been before I was really paying attention.
Yeah, he played for the Mariners 2015, traded to the D-backs after that. Okay. So I'm not completely. Yeah. That would feel. Oh yeah, it says shortstop, second baseman, center fielder, but that's, I don't know, not worth diving too deep into probably. So.
All right. Huh. I found the link to your big win contest, but I can't get it to open. So I guess we'll have to figure something else out here for a second. All right, we got another. Yeah, so that speed there got him home, and Texas starts off how they finished.
So I got a bit of bad news.
What's that?
Well, so I shared that that pick'em with you, right? That I was like,
yeah,
okay, which is great. But I picked the Adalis under 8.5.
Yeah. And I picked the over. Wasn't sure why you had the under. I shared the over.
I know you did.
Online.
Unfortunately, I hit the button before I knew any of that, and so I'm stuck with the under. And now he's got 5 points and only needs another 3.5 to make it. Which
I don't know, that he could go over 4 the next. I don't know.
He could, yeah, absolutely. I kind of, I don't know. I thought that might be slightly inflated just to cut because of how big of a monster he's been lately, but maybe
yeah,
maybe not. So.
And I'll be honest, I haven't really dug too deep into their scoring. in terms of, because when I draft on Underdog Baseball, I just use proxy FanDuel scoring because it's basically the same ratios of stuff. It's not the exact numbers. So I'm not like super actually in tune with those numbers. So I don't.
Real, yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But yeah, not good for my DFS lineups here this first inning. But Gallon kind of he kind of did this against the Brewers in his first game, I think, too, and just like came out and then was untouchable after the first inning. Then not really the same offensive team when you compare Texas to the Brewers, though.
Totally. Yeah, it's really not. Although the Brewers, yeah, I don't know. I was surprised that the Brewers finished as high as they did. To be honest, I thought they were good, but maybe not. They had really good pitching. I mean, all the starters and relievers, but their offense kind of baffled me how they kept producing. But they did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know. I just get the most upsetting thing was when I saw the after the fact articles like Brewers almost had Pete Alonso, like, and that just made me even more depressed because that would have been a welcome addition.
That's the guy the Twins fans are talking about now.
Oh yeah.
Although I think I really think they need a left-hander of some sort to, if they kind of stick with Buxton, Lewis, and Correa as who would be ostensibly their best three, they could use. I mean, Kepler is kind of, I don't know. So I think they need a really, if they're going to go out and get a first baseman, they should get a left-hander that's got some pop. But.
Yeah. What? Yeah, because you're a Twins fan. How did you feel about? I know at the beginning of the season, one of our conversations was the trade, the Pablo Lopez, Luis Arias, and it really seems like that was like one of those few trades that both teams got what they needed.
Totally, and I probably overrated how easy it is to get like 80% of what Arias did or does, but I always just kind of thought, all right, he's a great hitter. He's going to make contact. He's going to have good on base percentage, but that's sort of it. Like he's kind of not a power threat. He's not, defensively, he's like a okay first baseman. He can't play middle infield anymore. So I always viewed him as maybe not being quite as valuable as he maybe is, but I also didn't think Pablo Lopez was going to be as good as he was this year. But it's just kind of, when I was thinking about Gallon, I was sort of thinking about all the past Marlins pitchers that have kind of moved around and been really good and have like they could have had a team of aces almost if they would have just not made trades for the last 4 years or whatever. So
yeah, and there's definitely some years there for Gallon that he lost a lot of time to like weird injuries. Like he had that like forearm fracture or whatever for a while there. So I do think that if he had that full development, maybe we would. Then again, he's always been on a team that's not really known, but maybe he'd have more people talking about him. He got out of it though, so yeah, we'll see if he can do that same thing and buckle down, whatever cliche you want to use, and tighten up. I don't know. So yeah, right. Before you played DFS, did you do like what did you do? Football, baseball, fantasy? Did you have been doing that all your life?
Yeah, when I was in high school, we would do. This is like the early '90s. We've already referenced how dusty I am, but the early and mid '90s, we would do basketball drafts, and we would only use the first Friday the Friday night games or the first game that your player has. That was the only scoring thing. And so then we'd either look it up in the Sunday USA Today, or it was like the very early internet, like Prodigy. We'd dial up Prodigy and try to get some live game scores. And so that was like what that was always really, really fun to do. And yeah, I was just kind of, I like baseball. Is probably my favorite sport, and I've tried to play fantasy baseball, but it's just kind of something for fun, and that's really what I try to do with DFS too. It's just not, it's not worth trying to break your brain over and get stressed out over. So,
Yeah, I've definitely come into that more and more these days. I play some volume on Underdog right now, but like just putting in this year I've gone to just like on Sunday just putting in like 1 to 3 lineups into like the $3 big contest and just be like, whatever, I'm just going to enjoy this more than I used to. Try, less time, more enjoyment. Maybe I'm not going to win, but at this point, I've gotten over that. If I'm not, all the years that I tried harder, never really realized any of the value. So if I'm going to keep doing it and I want to keep talking about it, I can play it and just enjoy it more.
Yeah, and you've been successful on Underdog too, so I think that's like you've had success, which is good. It's cool,
Yeah, I ended up in this the MLB contest. Ended up with 5 teams in the finals out of the 42. So that was like a really nice advance rate, I thought, and that was all just because I drafted a bunch of Phillies. So now I'm stuck with. I do have one full Texas team I can field in the pennant contest. Otherwise, it's all partial teams.
Do you think? Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say somebody online went through all the teams. I guess there's like something like let's look it up here for a second. Yeah, 38% of the finals field has 0 or 1 player live that is playing in the World Series. That's how much the Phillies scored.
Right. And we're key to the advance rate.
Yeah. And then 5 total teams out of the 300 that have 12 players that they could from Texas and Arizona combined. 24 that can actually have a full lineup, which is pretty crazy. I think let's pull it up here.
Yeah, I shared with you my one team that advanced past the first round. That was based. I mean, it was dead man walking before the first pitch was even thrown in the NLCS because it was I think maybe 1 player advanced or maybe 2, but that was it.
Yeah, all right. Let me set up a separate screen to share here. Add it to the thing. It's Tommy Pham seems like he's stuck. He's stuck. I guess 4th, 5th is he batting tonight? But he really one of the series he really had a lot to contribute, and otherwise he's been kind of quiet. But it's crazy how that move how important that was for Arizona actually to get to this point, even if he hasn't been great every game. He's always been a bat darling because he hits the ball so hard, and nobody really recognizes him for that, or as more than just a replacement player. All right, let's grab screen here. Let's see which window that one. Uvalde's continuing to roll here. Make this a little bit bigger. I definitely could see the Arizona just go cold though in this series, and everybody will continue to complain. Why are they here? So yeah, this is the team that the one team that I can field a full team. So my three pitchers are Uvalde, Montgomery, and Heaney, which not the best three on Texas that you could have, but I don't know how they'll use Heaney. I don't think they yet know. Probably see how the series goes before we really know. And then Lowe, Semien, Seager, and Adolis. So that's my one full team.
That would have been the team they would have just handed you the check if the Phillies would have won.
I think it would have been duplicated. There was probably a version because I did. This is the one thing that I think I want to do differently next year. Is this one-off Pablo Lopez? I did a lot of that this year, trying to increase my advance rate in the first round. Was add in a wild card stud pitcher, and it I don't know that it helped me too much. Just having Phillies was what you needed to advance. So they scored so much separately from, or so much more than other teams that I didn't really need him to advance. So, and it really hurt me now. So I don't really know. It's hard to not want to juice that first round with all those wild card teams, though.
Well, as I recall from watching a previous episode of Sheep Seats, great name, by the way. That's
oh yeah, all three people watching. You name the show, so
that's what I'm known for. But you had said that you were taking as many as one player outside of a stack, in essence, and I assume that part of that was maybe just to get a hot one-off hitter, but also maybe to get a pitcher that would get you a boost in an advance rate in the right spot. So
yeah, and the idea being that they're going to get two starts, a wild card start and then a divisional round start potentially.
Which that made sense to me, and I did it myself after watching that program, and did not have the same success as you did. But
yeah, let's see here. How do we? I don't know why I can't. Oh, here's the full leaderboard, I guess. Yeah, it's probably. I mean, depending on what happens, like if Texas just dominates and the Arizona bats are quiet, which could happen, might just end up be a huge tie anyway. It's going to be interesting. I know. Yeah. So here, iMagikarp is one of the people I know that has a full potential team. Mm-hmm. So I think there's like 5 teams, and I think it's going to be pretty hard for one of them not to take it down. So that's pretty fun. That's going to be a pretty fun sweat for those people. I'm just trying to get as much out of it as possible, so then I can lose it on the dog bowl.
Is that going to be content for stacking dingers going forward? Like, are you going to sort of do a breakdown of your teams or anything, or is that all going to launch kind of early next year?
Yeah, that's going to be. I think from talking to people at Underdog, we're going to have like maybe a couple of months downtime here, and before like a too early contest opens up. Mm-hmm. I know they want to really hit it up in that football downtime where people are sort of bored of football, and I think December, January, really get those drafts rolling. So yeah, the plan is to mostly launch there. We kind of have to get back in touch with those guys. We like the Badge Bros are pretty deep in their football stuff, and now
Right.
Numi is working at Underdog. But yeah, we got some plans. We're trying to get some data stuff together, and it's really we have plans, and it was really just to work on something together, get stuff together. But personally, I have a list of stuff I'd like to write about, some stuff about player evaluation and comparison, but the biggest thing I'd like to do is to have I'd like to have some sort of onboarding thing for people that might be football bros, or because to me, most people that play fantasy sports probably have some connection to baseball as a kid or whatever at some point in their lives. I feel like there's a big demographic of people, maybe they've fallen off, but having some content out there that shortens the on-ramp is part of our goal. We want to kind of cover both things, like some of the simple stuff and some of the more advanced data-driven stuff. So we got plans.
Here's an idea for you. So, there's a couple things that baseball on Underdog has going for it as opposed to football. And one would be like the injuries that you see are not, I mean, there's certainly injuries, but not season ending, I don't think to the same extent, that could be attractive to players. And it's much more predictive too. I mean, I think the real data people out there, the stuff, the season long stuff is really pretty predictive in baseball. And that might be something that they look at and be like, wow, I thought that somebody was going to, this guy that was supposed to be a number one pick, would in the football league was,
like Quentin Johnson. He's a guy that stands out.
Yeah.
Even until recently, JSN or Jake Bobo is getting more action than JSN that everybody was all nuts over from college.
But no, that's a good idea though. I'll definitely play more next year. I mean, I just like the idea. I mean, drafting is the funnest, right? That goes without saying, but it's like the time that needs to be put into managing teams is just something that I'm not interested in. I think that goes for a lot of people too. It's fun to just draft these teams and let them roll and, still be able to keep an eye on them. And there's still a lot of game theory involved, which is a lot of fun too. It's not just, there's, like a lot of people said, it hasn't got solved yet. Nobody knows what
Yeah. And the nice thing is that we have smaller prize pools in baseball, so it's going to get solved a lot slower than football.
True.
And there's definitely a lot more inefficiency at the back end of the player pool. Like this past season, the most of the Reds were undrafted, and that was, if you had a couple of those late round Reds together, they could really boost you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Should we try and get into a dog bowl draft here?
Let's do it.
Let's see where we're. I know you've taken some shots at this. We've been sharing lineups.
Yeah, my dog bowl. I just love. Just let me know when you enter.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit it in now.
Okay.
3 people. So.
Okay. I think I'm in. I know. I just the dog bowl Underdog. It's just all too good. It'd be fun to get into one of these, but I also like that they're longer. The more amount of teams makes it a lot more fun too. It's just some of those short drafts are really kind of a little maddening. So
yeah, I like they had some 12 team drafts at certain points during the daily baseball slates on the bigger slates, and those were kind of fun. because I get so tied to ADP sometimes, and stacking the best teams, it kind of forces you out of that. But yeah, we were talking today about the like 6-man football drafts, and when you leave them and there's like really good players that are not getting drafted. I don't know. I personally feel like I feel bad when I do those, so I don't want to just do that. I feel like I want to cover more things than I can, and then I just get disappointed when I'm done.
Well, I mean, yeah, these are a lot deeper, but in some of those, it's like probably worth it at some point to just go 20 picks off the board and make a selection, and take that guy that's going to be basically unknown throughout. I mean, maybe not 20 picks, but 10 picks on your last pick or something, and just be like, all right, T. Higgins is nobody's going to pick him. He's not going to show up, but he could have 150 yards and a touchdown as easily as almost anyone. So,
yeah, and a guy like him is going to be mostly paired with Cincinnati stacks. He's definitely not going to be on his own much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't planning on doing as many of these dog bowl drafts as I was after the first week. And then they started adding all the bonus money to the min caches and stuff for if you do 10 of them. So
yeah.
So,
all right. Evaldi finally gave up a hit.
I got the one. This is tough.
Oh boy.
I would take arguments at 1 for Kelsey, McCaffrey, or Hill. I actually this is my second one.
Who do you think the fish is in this draft without the badge? Do you have any idea who that guy is?
No, I don't. We have, let's see. Crash Rich is like the most winningest player so far this season.
Okay.
He's won a bunch. EDN3 already has 1 ticket. I definitely recognize a few other people here from the Badge Bros and Deposit Kingdom channel.
We're swimming with the sharks in here.
Yeah. So, oh man, I'm gonna go Tyreek. I went Kelsey last time. I don't know. I definitely the Arizona closed mouths are threatening. I don't know if you saw my. I don't know why I got so obsessed today with all these like promo pictures that all the different team, or it was like mostly Fox and MLB, and some of the team promo stuff that they were tweeting out. That they were just like, the first one I saw was one team, Arizona, had all of their mouths closed, and Texas had all of their mouths open. So it just stuck out to me, so that I noticed all day as they were tweeting different things. They also, like, 3 of them used the same picture of Zach Gallen, even though it was not even the same site tweeting it out. Like, they're just cutting the same picture. So that was weird. I don't know. The things I randomly notice.
Well, I don't love the idea of going quarterback here, but I think I'm going to love the idea of going quarterback here for this pick.
All right. Carroll, it gets by. I got by him there. Corbin Carroll with the triple.
Wow.
High game. Yeah, he's gonna be a first-round draft pick next year on Underdog, especially being outfield, which I don't know how to feel about. I think to jump back, I think
why were they playing so? I suppose they're trying to cut that first guy down, but that seems like they were playing way too far in there.
Yeah,
that wasn't exactly a laser beam.
No
gap, it was like
sort of just dribbled by him then too.
Yeah. Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, he was really in there.
Yeah, get your defenders in a good spot, Bruce. Do you have any takes on Bruce Bochy's head?
His head? No,
Yeah,
I don't.
No, it's like well known in baseball. It's like he's got a legendarily like gigantic dome.
I did not know that.
That's total. Google it one time, see what you come up with.
I don't want to Google anybody's head. That might come up with some weird results.
NSFW.
Yeah. Oh, and we got I didn't even see we got Two Gun here.
Oh yeah.
Who's like the super high stakes guy for FTN.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I've been in these dog balls. I've been trying to figure out if he's auto drafting on ranks or not, because I'm not sure. Some of these people, like Crash Rich and him, are in a lot of drafts. So I do wonder how many of these people are in this contest specifically just going off ranks and trying to bank the right parlay of guys.
I will take Andrews if he shows up. If not, I won't be incredibly disappointed, I don't think. Although I don't know who else I would take.
Yeah, I don't think you can pass that up.
That makes it pretty easy, I guess.
Yeah. And I definitely do like Lamar over Mahomes. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong with the Denver defense.
I think my wife got home. My dogs are going bonkers upstairs.
I can't hear them, so. So let's see what happens here.
Are you gonna? Would you take Waddle and try to set up the double stack, or not necessarily?
I don't know. I think. Oh, there's safe. Another run.
Oh no! What are they thinking? Bad defense by the Rangers. Oof. He kind of runs like a stepdad too. Got a little bit like he's like a little like packed off kind of guy, you know, like
yeah,
kind of like he's gonna run up to the. I don't know. It just seems like he's slightly irked.
I had to go see him live this year. I went to we are on the clock here.
Interesting.
I'm for sure gonna take Tua here. I don't know how much they're paired together, but I think what I'm going to do is take Tua, and then I'm also going to take Pacheco as sort of a little bit of leverage on skipping Kelsey first. So assume that the points there go through the running back.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say I don't love Hill and Waddle on the same team.
I think that's smart. How far down? I'm quarter. I can't see quarterback because I already picked mine. So how far down was Tua? I guess I should have looked at your screen, but I was watching the World Series.
That is sort of the point of what we're doing here. What do you mean? How far down?
Where was he ADP wise? How close was he to when you picked him? I guess.
Oh, he's ADP is 23.8. So I basically took him at ADP.
Oh yeah, I guess I could have just looked up here. I'm so dumb.
So I do think that it's not like a super unique combo.
This is where you get freaky though, the last half.
Yeah. And when I do these, I like to, because you can't actually look up. I look on my phone, but I save. As I do these dog bowls and I do my 10, I try to save the first 5 or so of them, so I get an idea of what kind of teams other people are putting together from the same spot, to make sure I'm not being too similar. Oh, we got our taco. Ketel Marte gets us our taco.
So kind of tempted to take Kittle here. But I also really like Bijan. I think Bijan is probably the pick.
Yeah, he doesn't project super well, but it's crazy how last week in this he was going in the first round, and now because of the weird headache thing, like I don't know why he wouldn't come back just and be good or be okay, have the same role. I don't know. That's a weird situation this week. But the good news is that if he's out, that I think we'll know ahead of time this time after all the crap that they're taking. I'm sure, and like the NFL is not too happy with how they handled that last weekend either.
Yeah, it was definitely sketchy, or seemed so.
All right, let's pull up the draft board here. What do you think about Jordan Addison? With I don't. Did you watch the game last weekend?
I did.
Yeah,
I love
being the ex-Minnesota guy, the Minnesota fan. What did you think about that team and how they played without Jefferson?
You know, their Addison seems like the real deal, and their offensive line is really the key thing. I mean, they've not had good offensive lines the last few years, even when they have had really good offensive parts, like when Cook was kind of in his prime, and they had the younger version of the guy that's in Carolina now. What's his nugget? Adam Thielen, you know, and Jefferson. Yeah. And so that's the big difference. I mean, being able to Cousins is good when he has time, but when he's not, he's just going to throw interceptions and throw it up for grabs. And so, you know.
All right, you are up.
I think I'm going to go with Olave. I'm a little. There's no concern that he's going to miss the game, right? He's not like in territory.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, he seems like he's a good pick on the very nice little projection sheet that you put up too, where he's got a nice projection, better than ADP. So,
yeah, that's another team that
indoors. Well, I guess they're an indoor team, but they'll be playing in Indy. So,
yeah, yes, that's true. Them and the Raiders are always projected higher in the blitz than the field here on Underdog usually drafts them. All right. So I don't know. I've been doing mostly 2 running back teams. It feels like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like, unless you have like McCaffrey, I don't really feel like there's one running back that's going to, well, I guess Mostert could break the slate for where he's going, but an ETN, I don't know. I just have been leaning away from 3 wide receiver teams in this contest.
You're definitely taking Henry if he gets there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think that's smart though. I mean, like he's a good. I mean, in this format, the running backs are pretty much just as good as the receivers. Generally, they're more likely to score touchdowns, or they're more predictive. I guess have some bit more predictability.
Yeah, and I do have a later wide receiver that I think I want to put with this team. I don't think anybody's watching it, but I won't say it. All right, yeah, I'm not going to pass up Derrick Henry here. And then
I like your squad.
I think I'm going to go tight end here and take man, I don't know. I don't know if that's right, but I'm going to take Jake Ferguson.
Shaky Jakey.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have taken Dalton Schultz there. I don't know. But as far as at this point, there's a huge group of wide receivers that I like here. And some of them aren't even getting drafted in these contests in this 12-man field. So that's why I decided to go tight end there.
I think that makes sense. The tight end group thins out pretty quickly after that.
Yeah. And
Alejandro has 2 tight ends right now already. He's eating them up.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad combo of tight ends, depending on. I mean, it seemed like last week Waller was the main target. So with Tyrod again, it seems like that could happen again. And Hawkinson is, I don't know. Honestly, I've stopped following the Packers. I don't know what their defense actually is good at or who's not injured on the Packers defense right now. So I don't know who's going to benefit in Minnesota this week of the injuries. Somebody certainly could.
Oh boy.
I
like Wilson, but I feel like taking Pittman and hoping for a blow-up game is probably the right move. So I think I'm going to do that. Bring back for my Olave.
Sure. I think I would have gone Wilson there.
I had him starred and had no intention of taking Pittman, but I didn't think they'd both be there, to be honest.
Yeah, if only because I know maybe you could get Josh Downs later as your run back. It seems like they're similar in volume right now.
Absolutely.
But I don't know who else. It seems like maybe Jerome Ford's going to play, so I don't know how great of a play Kareem Hunt is anymore. I have no idea what to expect from Aaron Jones until I see him get a real workload. I just can't play him. Like, it's one of those things that I want to be ahead of when he actually is right, because everybody's afraid of it. But the fact that he just like can't get, it's just like a reoccurring problem that I don't love that.
I think I might take him.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly do it. I just personally, I'm worried about it.
Not on the injury report.
That's true.
But I've also got Marquise Brown staring me in the face for a revenge game against
the run back. Yeah.
And a run back. It sort of seems a little too perfect.
I don't hate that either. And
there was some animus there too when he left town, as I recall.
Yeah, and we know for sure that we're not going to get Kyler this week.
That's true.
Well, he's doubtful, last I saw. So it's yeah. So that would be my one question, is if you're going to get that, and then he stinks because he hasn't played football in a while. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting decision. I like it.
My main problem is that I feel like this might not be a total dupe, but it's definitely, I didn't leave the pocket of ADP at any point. So,
yeah, but I think, when we get to this point, everybody's got like a 35, 36 ADP.
True.
Similar projections in this whole range, depending on the position. I think people jump around more at this point. It is interesting that it doesn't have a separate ADP than the 6-person drafts. I would be interested to know how it would separate out more, because I feel like that's really the benefit of scrolling down in this, is that you're really like a 36 here and a 35.8 in this contest is different than most of the ADPs coming from the 6-person drafts.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely a different game, Just not giving Seager anything to hit at all.
Yeah.
Well, Zach Gallen seems a little nervous. about giving him something across the plate, which I can't blame him for.
Struck out Semien. Yeah.
So
here, I'm trying to get. Oh yeah. Well, I don't know why I didn't think I was going to get him, but we're going to take the Kendrick Bourne run back to Miami.
Ooh.
He seems like he's really established himself as much as a guy as New England has. He is that guy. So I like that run back.
Love it. I'm surprised to say this because a couple weeks ago I didn't like either of our teams at any point, but I like both of our teams for that. So I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, pretty good. I like it. All right. Well, I think we had our little draft there. Not too many people are hanging out and watching, so
wow, just a big. You bring a big name on that, well known in the industry. Just someone who's.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to denigrate you at all.
I'm just kidding. But here, so I haven't made my cocktail yet. I promised to make.
Yeah, you got okay. So your fall cocktail to close this out.
So I did. I wanted to make a cocktail called the Fall Classic. And so, you think of what the flavors are. It's like, all right, it can't be something with pumpkin spice. No. I don't want to make just something that's like an Applejack. So I got a little bit of bourbon, a little mezcal for smokiness.
Okay.
And then some peach liqueur that I just picked up. Oh, shit. And couple other things. I could put it together, but maybe it would just make too much noise and be
probably.
So it seems like it was a great idea at the time, but it's probably ill-advised, to be honest.
Yeah, so. Like most ideas I have for this show, great idea at the time and probably ill-advised.
Sounded great in the chat, that's for sure.
And you can enjoy it afterwards.
That's absolutely, yeah.
So. All right, well, it was awesome hanging out, doing a draft. I know I've been bugging you to come on and hang out.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to come on, and I'm glad I got to do it for a World Series game. It seemed like the appropriate time and thing. So
yeah, thanks to the couple of people that hung out and watched. I know who you are. Appreciate you. Enjoy your weekend, and maybe one of us will be going to Miami, or we both can go to Miami after that draft, and we can hang out.
Absolutely, that's well within the range of outcomes. Given the most broad definition of range of outcomes, I think. So.
All right. Well, everybody have a nice weekend, and we'll see you later.